Hello knitting friends! Today I'm going to show you two finished projects, including a cozy hat and a stylish sweater, plus a sneak peek at some of my works in progress. And stick around till the end because I have some incredibly exciting, yet often overlooked yarn to showcase. You might just fall in love with it as much as I did. Hi everyone, welcome back to Stitch and Thread, the channel where we dive deep into the world of knitting with a sprinkle of embroidery here and there. I'm Anna, and today I'm thrilled to bring you another episode of our knitting podcast. So, grab your yarn, needles, and let's get started. First of all, let's talk about my most recent creation. Yes, the one I'm wearing today. This is Sorrel by Wool and Pine. So, first, let me talk about the pattern. The sweater is knit top down and seamlessly in the round, featuring a yoke with deep stitches that create a unique and eye-catching design. The pattern includes options for customization, such as different length and sleeve styles, and is designed to be knit with one strand of sock yarn held together with one strand of mohair. The reverse stockinette body is knit inside out, so you just need the whole body in the round. A bit of the heads up. If you're not a big fan of purling, there is quite a bit of it before you actually reach the end of the deep stitches, including some purling through the back loop. It was a bit painful for myself. But once you're through that part, it's smooth sailing with only some purling left for the hem, and cuffs. What I liked about the pattern is that video tutorials are provided for the more complicated parts, like those deep stitches here, the German short rows, and the sewn bite-off. Once you purchase the pattern, you'll get the password to access all these helpful videos. So, done with the pattern itself. Now let's talk about the yarn I used for this project. I chose Mamie and Florrie 4-ply Merino and bamboo blend. I'm not sure what is this exact color, but initially I planned to transition it into the darker strand from the same dye, but after swatching I wasn't happy with the transition and I faced a bit of a dilemma. I couldn't find anything similar in color on the dye's website, but I realized I was really happy with the fabric and the color as it is. So I purchased two skeins of this color, each 100 grams with 400 meters per hank. And the pattern is quite detailed regarding the yardage, like meterage as well actually, required. For size 2, which I chose due to my gauge, with 3/4 sleeves, it requires 830 yards or 760 meters, just under 2 skeins. Feeling reassured, I continued with my project. But little did I realize this wouldn't be the last time I'd worry about having enough yarn. Towards the end of the project, I found myself quickly running out of mohair. I had some Rowan mohair in the color gem from my previous project, the Gabi blouse. While I hadn't originally planned to use it and tried about 5 different green mohairs for this project, I loved this one the most when I swatched it. The bluish hue really complemented the sock yarn. I had about half a ball left from the Gabi blouse and I purchased another 3 balls thinking it would be enough. However, I lost the game of yarn chicken on the second sleeve, just before heating the cuffs, and I had to consider my options. I was adamant about not wanting more leftover mohair and didn't really want to spend more money on this already expensive sweater after purchasing 4 skeins of hand-dyed yarn and 3 balls of mohair. So there was really only one option left, unraveling my original swatch. Have you ever unraveled anything with mohair in it? If you have, you know how I feel. You know the joy and happiness of doing it and know how much mohair clings and tangles. Still, I persevered and used the remaining mohair to finish off the sleeve. In the end, one of my sleeves is 1 cuff row shorter. Can you see it? So, does it mean I won? I'm not sure, but I definitely saved myself a few quid. Now, it's time for the first impressions and fit. To reiterate, due to my gauge, instead of making size 1, which I would do originally, I calculated them somewhere in between size 2 and 3, and And as you can see, the sweater is quite fitted, which is exactly what I wanted. For the calves and hem, I used the Italian binder following and Ventzel's tutorial, my just general go-to for remembering how to do it. Overall, I'm quite pleased with the fit. The only thing I would have done differently is to add a few stitches to the sleeves, as they are a bit tight. I feel like extra 4 stitches probably would be perfect. I do like fitted 3/4 sleeves, but where my biceps are, it is a bit tighter at the moment. Maybe it will change since it is a superwash yarn, but I'm not sure yet. Otherwise, I love the fit, I like the length of the sweater. Considering this was such a risky project for me with variegated yarn, I think it's a winner. Next finished project is the Winter Sunrise Beanie by Teti Lutsak. This beanie is knit from the bottom up in the round, featuring elegant cables and bobbles that create this kind of a textured and visually appealing design. It includes options for a long folding brim or a classic short brim, and the pointed crown can accommodate like a small to a medium-sized pompon. The pattern is available for an adult size as well as the kid size. I have made an adult version for my daughter using leftovers from Gepard Garn Puno and 5.5mm needles. Also, I decided not to swatch and I paid for it big time. First, I had to restart halfway through. My first attempt was using 5mm needles. Now, the hat actually works well for my daughter without folded brim. However, I needed a folded brim version with this yarn. I obviously was way off my raw gauge as well. I love the look of twisted knit stitches, so I was gutted that they are not visible. So have a look. That's the hat, and these are my twisted stitches. So the main take from this is not to be lazy and always swatch. As for the knitting experience, it was another very well written pattern by Teti Lutsak and a great practice for me in using a cable needle. There are a lot of different cable stitches here. The yarn isn't the best for cables, I think, in my opinion, as it doesn't allow them to be as pronounced, but I still like the look of the hat and I'm happy I used leftover yarn. I wanted to try something new with this hat, not only to knit it, but to line it with fleece fabric on the inside, so as you can see. It's funny, it probably took me longer to do the lining than to knit the hat. I was procrastinating because it felt like such an uncharted territory. Do you ever have that? The hat lay for weeks, waited for me to finally get the courage to finish it off. In the end, I watched a few videos on YouTube, but I didn't find one that fit my needs 100%. I'll link the one I followed loosely in the description. I basically cut the fleece fabric about 1 inch, but 2 centimeters larger than the hat, all the way around. I used HT2 fabric kind of glue from Gutterman to kind of glue the pieces together and set the glue. I wasn't fully convinced that it did the job, because I never used it before. When I stretched the fleece, I was worried that it might kind of come apart. Maybe I didn't use enough glue, I'm not sure. If you know whether this glue can be used for fleece, let me know. As I mentioned, anything sewing related is uncharted territory for me. So I decided to use a needle, a good old needle, and a hand sew the 2 pieces together just to be sure. Then I attached the fleece higher up the brim, as you can see, as the plan was to have a folded brim. Surprisingly, it only took me literally a couple of hours. Now, the hat is done, and most importantly, the recipient is pleased. Today is particularly cold here in the UK, around 0 degrees Celsius, so I'm actually a bit sad that I didn't allow my child to take this hat with her to school. Overall, I'm happy with the pattern, but the result could be improved. I do still have some yarn left, and I even considered adding more ribbing to make this hat with a folded brim, like some here, but I'm not sure how easy it would be to do and how noticeable it would be. For now, I've just decided to see how it goes, and we'll go from there. Now, let's move on to what's currently on my needles. The first and most exciting project for me right now is the Klint Classic by Ventzel. I've wanted to make this sweater for a while, and it even featured in my autumn plans video from a couple of months ago. So I'm over the moon that I finally started. But first, let's talk about the pattern itself. The Klint Classic is an elegant sweater featuring raglan lines and twisted rib edges. It begins with a folded neck edge, followed by a yoke and finished with short rows to lengthen the back. The body and sleeves I worked separately in the round with edges bound off using the Italian bind-off technique. It is designed to have 0 to 8 centimeters of positive ease, and the pattern includes sizes from XS to XXL. It uses one strand of DK weight yarn held together with lace weight mohair. So for my project, I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners pure DK yarn in the color Dark Egg, combined with Lang Yarns lace mohair, silk and color Mint. So I'm using 4.5mm needles. The designer suggests 4mm, but since I'm generally a tight knitter, this is to be expected. I'm knitting size 1, and there are slight differences in the raglan look for larger sizes. In my opinion, the larger sizes actually look even better as the raglan shaping is more spread apart. So you can have a look. As you can see, mine is a bit much closer than larger sizes. So as you can see, I've completed all the raglan increases already. Geometry draws as well, and just split for sleeves somewhere here. Yeah, so now I'm just knitting in the round, and this can be my just TV knitting. However, it wasn't so easy in the beginning. The twisted rib took some effort here, and the raglan increases had this weird 5-row repeat, while the pattern itself is a 2-row repeat, so I had to count and cross each row to make sure I was on track. In the middle of the raglan increases, I got the hang of it and understood the structure better, but still followed each row kind of religiously. I was amazed at how well Ventzel was able to incorporate geometry draws and all the increases to kind of match the pattern so well. Just maybe it's just me, but it looked so clever to me. I could clearly see that she's an experienced designer. In any case, it was surprisingly smooth sailing for me. I'm following the pattern and thoroughly enjoying the experience. My only worry at the moment is whether I have enough yarn. Here we go again. I'm on my 4th ball already out of the 7 that I've purchased. I think my yarn yardage, or rather meterage, is about 10 meters shorter than Ventzel's example yarn. We'll see. I've checked, and there is more yarn available in the store where I purchased it. So fingers crossed, if I'm short, I can just purchase an extra ball. So we're in the gift knitting territory now, and this project also featured in my autumn plans video. It's the Pochie by Davies design, a cozy kind of hot water bottle cover knit from the bottom up. It starts with a winding cast on, followed by a few rounds of shaping, and the body is worked in the round using a color work chart. Then the top is shaped and a ribbed cuff should be added. So here's the beginning of my first Pochie. I love this look, so colorful, which is the intention. I'm using some random balls of yarn from my stash. So the navy one is my Rowan Moordale in color 16, it's like French navy color. And the green yarn I have is just basically drop daisy in color 25 green. I originally purchased the green yarn when my son was a bit obsessed with Minecraft. I had an idea to make a sweater featuring that green block. I'll put a picture in case you're not familiar with Minecraft. So I was looking for the right shade of green. If any of you are considering a similar project or have someone obsessed with Minecraft, I highly recommend it. It's a really nice shade of green for that project. I think it will work very well. Okay, back to the Pochie. I quite like how it's progressing since it's Christmas present for my son. I can usually only knit after he's gone to bed, but that's okay. The only thing is that the colorwork pattern isn't something you can memorize easily. And I must always have the pattern on hand and count stitches. Well, it doesn't seem hard. It is involved in that respect. Also, it was quite interesting to do a winding cast on. It's just something I hadn't done before. It wasn't difficult at all, but yet another new technique for me. I'll link to the tutorial I used, as the designer had the explanation in the pattern itself, but I'm a visual learner and found it best to see something like that rather than read it. Speaking of cast-ons, I've also started on a Raunioiset junior cardigan by Suvi Lyytikäinen. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. I won't show it as I literally just started with the cast-on and I-cord edge. And I'm, again, procrastinating because the fan pattern looks a bit complicated and I want to practice it first. However, I mentioned it because it also has a special cast-on called the Turkish cast-on technique, and it includes a stitch Y as well, which was mind-blowing and worked so well. So it's just so many different cast-on types recently I'm so impressed that they exist. So I wonder, do you personally have any preferred ways for a provisional cast-on? There seem to be just so many ways, and I'm not sure I can keep up, to be honest, to remember them all. Now, off to my acquisitions and plans. As promised, I wanted to share something quite special, which is yarn all the way from Falkland Islands. I noticed that my Pure Decay yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, the one I use for the Klint Classic, is 100% Falkland wool, and I quite like its softness, so I decided to Google to find out more about it. It is a fascinating subject. Apparently, Falkland Island wool is renowned for its exceptional quality, sustainability, and this wool is produced by ship raised in this environment of Falkland Islands, where the climate and conditions, they contribute to the wool's kind of unique characteristics. And the wool is naturally white, soft, and has this fine micron count, making it ideal for high quality yarns. And Falkland Islands wool is also known for its ethical and sustainable farming practices, where the sheep are well cared for and the environment is preserved. So I also found out that I can order this wool directly from Falkland Islands, which is what I did. I was in no rush to receive the yarn, but was astonished to receive it in less than 2 weeks here in the UK. A bit of geography. Falkland Islands are located to the east of Patagonia in South America, so I was prepared to wait for quite some time. Also, here in the UK, which is really cool, I do not need to pay any taxes on yarn import from Falkland Islands. Obviously, if you're not in the UK, you better check, but on the website of the yarn company, they do have some of this information. And the shipping cost wasn't extortionate as well. So let me just finally share the yarn. There you go. This is the undyed version. And these are the colorful. Aren't they amazing? Look at this. So some of these skeins will be used for the Stella quilt cushion by Laura Penrose. So that's the plan. Probably I will start early next year. But again, in no rush. Nothing is going to happen before Christmas for sure. This is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing or just hit the thumbs up. It will help to grow my channel. I post a regular monthly podcast where I talked about my knitting projects and some extra content every now and then. Happy knitting and see you soon. Bye.